Well, a mighty finish for Team India there from Suryakumar Yadav. Could have even got another boundary of the last ball. He didn't, but nonetheless, pretty imposing total put on in front of decent crowds at the Eden Gardens by Team India. Remember, it was an unfamiliar lineup from Team India. Not the best start, having lost 3 wickets, then even a fourth at the 100-run mark. And what a finish it was to get to 184 for 5. Suryakumar Yadav doesn't have an asterisk next to his name only because of that last ball. Otherwise, 65 of 31. He's used to that Eden Gardens. He's played quite a bit before early in his career. Venkatesh Iyer, 35 not out of 19. Yet again, he gets the finishing kick for them. 184 for 5. Here we are on Cricbuzz Live to assess this mid-innings by Team India in the final T20 International. I'm joined by Ajay Jadeja and Dinesh Karthik. TK, first up, how would you assess 184 as finishing total, especially in the light of where they were early on?
I think India have done well to get 184, but I doubt it is enough because it looks like a good wicket. The outfield is fast, one side is short. If they have a right and left combination going through and through, we have a slightly newer bowling attack. Taking everything into consideration, I think it's a par score, maybe even 5 to 8 less than par. But the good thing is Rohit has handled the bowlers well, so obviously that is a big plus for India. But the middle order obviously coming good again. It's hard to say middle order. I think it is Surya and Iyer. I think batted beautifully. Venkatesh Iyer and to get that amount of runs was a good job by them. And you could see the kind of shots that they played using the pace. Very good partnership. 37 balls for 91 doesn't happen too often. So you're literally playing at 15 runs and over. That's phenomenal. It's a great partnership.
I know, Ajay, we referred to the local franchise at the Eden Gardens, but it was the local franchise connections, in a sense, who did all the running today. The new captain, the former player in Suryakumar Yadav, and the current star in Venkatesh Iyer. So it was basically Kolkata against the West Indies, in a sense.
Yeah, when you're at the Eden, you have no other choice. I mean, and a lot of fans must be saying, when did we let Suryakumar Yadav go? Why did we let him go? So, when somebody does well, that's what happens. But it was fabulous finish. I mean, the finish was fabulous to watch. Start was, young man, young team, enthusiastic, full of energy, not the experience that you have with Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, where they steady the board first and then go for it. Yeah, I mean, if it all had gone well, then you'd go past that 220 because, at the end, what Iyer and Suryakumar Yadav did was something very special. I mean, although you got to say that I think once West Indies forgot about the pitch and said, look, now it's the end time, let's look for that block hole or Yorkers, they took the pitch out of the game. And that's when, once that Suryakumar played breaks, I think that was the, floodgates opened from there, and then everything was all India's way.
Yeah, remember, let's remind you, they were not exactly in such a comfortable position. Sometimes you can have a big kick after a great start. But here you had 4 wickets down. Of course, there was Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar to come, but they were essentially bowling all-rounders who have done well for India. But 17.20 in the last 5 overs, 86 for 1. That was some finish from Team India. Venkatesh Iyer, when he chatted at the end, said he enjoyed Surya's batting more than his own. His pickup shot on the leg side was his favorite. It was Surya's idea to go for the pickup shot, the flick of Jason Holder. DK, we've seen that early on in his career. In fact, that was one of the kind of shots which was almost his trademark, particularly before he moved from Kolkata to Mumbai.
Yeah, when it comes to Surya's batting, one of his biggest strengths is to play behind the wicket. I think he uses his hands very well to play behind. You need to get into good positions to allow the ball to come to you before you can use the pace to get it behind you. And he is somebody who is very, very good at that. We can see he can also hit those over long off and covers very well. Generally, people who bat well at the death, if you see, their strengths will be long on and deep at wicket. That's the area they will, pepper. But Surya is a slightly different player. I think he's one of those who uses the pace of the ball, gets under the ball a lot more and goes behind the wicket and then follows it up with something that is on, straighter down the ground. So he's a very interesting batsman to bowl to.
Yeah, let's have a look at, in fact, in terms of the number of sixes that were hit. And that's what we're talking about here. I mean, this is insane. You often talk about certain players. West Indies are a team who are associated with being a 6-hitting team. 1 4, 7 sixes, 209.67. I mean, that is something he'd love to look back and take home to bed with him, Ajay.
Yeah, I mean, how often can you pick an innings, and even in this 2020 format, which has been around for 15 years, that somebody's hit more sixes and not just like 3-2 or 5-2. This is like straight sets. So what was it? 7-1? I couldn't see it on the screen. Sorry.
7-1. 7-1.
7-1. I mean, it's a thrashing, compared to boundaries. I don't know how to explain that, because when he hits it, it's not power. Like DK explained it beautifully, that he's not using power. He's finding ways. So I think, if I look from the opposition's point of view, or think, what can you do? Take pace off. But when you take pace off, also he hit Walsh at the start of that innings. So he, like Roston Chase, there are certain myths that we had off spin. Like with Suryakumar, I think another myth goes away. That you need to be powerful, or you need to be very strong to play this format of the game. He's showing you that, even if you don't have that kind of power, but you have a different kind of skills and understand the situation of the game, where the ball's going to come, what are the possibilities on the ground. I think he maximized all those today. All those sixes that he hit. Very rarely, I think I can think of one, maybe just that, Walsh six that was powered away. Everything else was timing. So it does show that there's still place for timing in this game and to keep up the pace. Fabulous.
Yeah, the pickup shots, of course, DK are one side, but we've seen his sixes over point, and we used obviously the obvious reference to an AB de Villiers Mr. 360. Let me put you on the spot, Dinesh Karthik. Is he India's answer to Mr. 360, Suryakumar Yadav?
I think, look, I'm generally not one to compare, but Surya definitely possesses skills to hit in areas where others don't manage to hit it that easily. Like that shot over point for six, you need to have great wrist, you need to get under the ball, and the ability to clear it to sixes. The same, Venkatesh Iyer played a similar shot, but he only got a boundary for it. To get a six of that ball, you need great wrist, you need to get under the ball, and most importantly, it's as much a top hand shot as much as it is a bottom hand shot. You could see one hand coming off it as soon as he's hit it. So he's somebody who's very good with this. Yes, he plays, the odd one down the ground, but he's somebody who's very good using the side boundaries and square boundaries. So yes, he does possess shots almost all around the wicket.
And that's what got India to the total that they finally did get. But let's talk about the West Indies bowling. Could they have done anything a little differently early on? Roston Chase once again providing the breakthrough. But did they have the kind of finish? Look at Romario Shepherd. He was expensive early on when we saw in the previous game. Today, 4 overs for 50 runs. Dominic Drakes, despite that wicket, 3 overs for 37 runs. That's 87 of 7 overs from 2 bowlers who are becoming, among many, the talking points of West Indies options in their bowling. So that's a cause for worry for them, Ajay.
Yes, of course, it's a cause of worry when you talk of those numbers at any stage of the game. But I think both of them are probably the youngest in the lot in terms of not age, but at least experience. And Drake's, of course, with age as well. So, and this format, I think, experience has a very huge value. A lot of people think this is young man's game. But I believe that, an experienced player can actually extract more out of this game. And I think as they grow, they'll learn, they'll understand. Drake's bowled 3 right at the end. That's another difficult thing to do as well. I mean, even the greatest of bowlers who are around, I mean, somebody like Malinga, who is also one of the finest in this format, didn't bowl 3-4 right at the end. Because as a batsman, and especially when the opposition doesn't lose wicket, if the same guy has to play you again and again and again for 24 balls or in 18 balls in this case, they are somehow, they manage to figure out what's coming next. What are the options that are coming? So they will learn from it. Yes, it's a cause of worry if you look at it that way, but I won't worry too much. West Indies, they weren't the most experienced, they weren't the best, and they probably didn't bowl at the time where it was the easiest. It was the toughest for them. So it was a hard day for them, but they would have learned a lot. I think Drake's, I enjoyed Drake's. I, in fact, picked up the phone and called Mr. Nehra and said, oh yeah, this Drake's looks good, because I hadn't seen him as much as you've seen him in the CPL. I really enjoyed him. I mean, in the flow that he has, and I feel he'll only get better from here.
I thought he picked up the phone and called Vasbert.
No, Vasbert won't be around the phone. He'll be at the beach with a glass in his hand.
Fair point, yeah. But the West Indies will certainly want to try and make a match of this, DK. Do you say, I mean, you said at the start of the show, maybe not enough runs, but do they have the experience to try and get over the line here?
They don't. I think they're very dependent on Rovman Powell, Nicholas Pooran, and Pollard. I think that's going to be a bit of an issue. So we got to wait and watch. It'll be a great effort for them to chase it down. Again, the one good thing for them is they don't have to play 8 overs of spin just to 4. The others are all medium pace. So I think that will work in their favor. And I do think it is a very chaseable total. And with India's bowling attack, there is a good chance the West Indies batters can get them across the line.
Well, we're already underway, so that's what we generally feel here, that it should be India's game. We will, of course, be back in the 10th over to see how the West Indian run chase is going. We know it's going to be busy times, but as far as this mid-show is concerned, from Dinesh Karthik, Ajay Jadeja, and myself on Cricbuzz Live, we'll see you in about 9.5 overs time.